NHL Insider reveals the asking price on Lindholm's extension. The Canucks were after Chris Tanev, and what kind of assets do the Canucks have to look for another trade? I'll get into all this later on in this episode, but before I start, I just want to say to everyone watching this that's not subscribed, make sure to go down and hit that subscribe button. We'll be here all season long giving you updates from all around the Canucks, from prospects, rumors, trades, and game recaps. But with that, let's hop straight into the first topic today, which is Elias Lindholm's contract price revealed. Now, this did come per Elliot Friedman on 32 Thoughts, and he said the Flames and Lindholm were about $1 million off in extension talks. It was assumed that Lindholm wanted around $9 million, which is a hard bargain for the season he's having with the Flames, or was having with the Flames. Now, when you do look at Elias Lindholm, in 49 games, he had 23 assists, 9 goals for 32 points. He was a -8, but this is not a stat that I really like looking at, especially on a team that was struggling. You see Lindholm, who was 55.5% from the draw. He had 547 faceoff wins, was a guy that had a 82-point season back in 2021-22 with the Calgary Flames, and you could see that his seasons were always great until he led up to this one. Now, when you do look at a guy like Lindholm, as I said, he's a defensive forward. He can put up 20 goals for you. He's going to be a perfect second-line center for the Canucks team. But if the asking price was around $9 million, is this too much for the Canucks? Now, you do look at the Canucks just kind of breakdown of their contracts this season, next, and the year after. You have guys like Elias Pettersson, guys like Elias Lindholm, and you have a couple other big names like Filip Hronek that are all going into their seasons not being signed. So the big problem with this is, do they have enough money to maybe offer $9 million? I think yes. You look at a guy like Tyler Myers, who's making $6 million, will be off the books this year. So maybe the Canucks look to spend this money on a guy like Lindholm, get a guy like Elias Pettersson signed, and a guy like Hronek. Now, what's your guys' thoughts on this? Do you think they just got him as a rental, or do you think they're truly looking at an extension, or is $9 million too much? Use him as a rental and then look for some help elsewhere in the offseason. But this leads into the second topic today, which is the Flames just kind of put their asking price out for Chris Tanev. Now, you can see that Friedman also believes Tanev, another soon-to-be unrestricted free agent, wasn't close to being added to the Lindholm deal. However, it's likely that Vancouver were asking for him, as many teams were asking for him as well. And as you can see here, on a Thursday's episode of Donnie and Dolly, they were talking about it, saying how the Flames were going to look to move him because they don't want to get this guy injured and not be able to capitalize on his trade value. But granted, soon-to-be unrestricted free agent has played all but 3 of the Flames games this season. Since beginning the Flames' tenure, Tanev has missed just 20 games of the 269 he's played, which is 7.4% of games. A lot of people do look at Chris Tanev, say he's injury prone, saying that he can't stay healthy. But as you can see from here, and this is why I added it, he has just missed 20 games of the 269 since joining the Flames. Now, the big thing with Tanev is the interesting note that wasn't covered in it was that the Flames were looking for a second-round pick and other assets, likely an NHL-ready prospect for Chris Tanev. If a team offers the Flames a first-round pick right now, LeBron believes that the Flames would accept the trade. Of course, that pick would likely come down to between the 20th, 32nd, but a late second doesn't seem too inciting. So it seems like the Canucks probably made an offer. Maybe the Flames weren't too keen on what they offered, but they really do want to acquire this guy. We've seen them already make 2 deals with the Flames this year, so there is a strong chance that maybe they're calling and Patrik Allvin wants to look at Chris Tanev's return to Vancouver. And when you do kind of look at the next part here is, what are the Canucks' assets and what can they trade to acquire a guy like Chris Tanev or another player? And this kind of leads into their draft picks. So you can see this year the Canucks are without a first, a second, their 4th round pick, their 5th round pick. Next season they do have their 1st and 2nd. The year after they do have another 1st and 2nd. No 3rds in the next 2 seasons. But the Canucks are in a really good spot with what they have draft pick wise. As I said, the asking price right now seems to be a late first or a early second for a guy like Chris Tanev. And with the Canucks picks here, I really do think they could look at acquiring a guy like this. I do think Chris Tanev is more likely a rental for the Canucks, unlike a guy like Lindholm, which I really do think that they're going to circle around extending him, getting here for the future, having guys like JT Miller, Elias Pettersson, a guy like Filip Hronek, Elias Lindholm, locking these guys up for just the future and making these couple Stanley Cup runs. When you do look at just Canucks prospects that they might move on, I think there's a lot of untouchables here. You have guys headlining the untouchable list, in my opinion, like Jonathan Lekkerimäki. You have guys like Jet Wu who may get traded, Elias Pettersson, or DPD if you want to call him that as well. There's so many people on this list that are considered untouchable for Canucks, but there are a lot of players that you could see maybe them moving on from. And as I said, right now they do have to sign people going into next season. Elias Pettersson, Elias Lindholm if they go this way, Teddy Blueger, Sam Lafferty. There's just so many names here that do need an extension that I don't think you could really just sensibly bring in a guy like Tanev and Lindholm and expect all two of them to sign. And a guy like, you can see here, Sidorov that needs to be signed as well. Filip Hronek. There's so many names here to be signed. The salary cap is going to be tight, but I think the Canucks can really get this done. So what's your guys' thoughts? Do you think Lindholm's asking price of $9 million is too high and he's only a rental? Do you think the Canucks should circle back on a guy like Chris Tanev, offer up their first next year, offer up the second, whatever it costs, bring this guy in for the Stanley Cup run? And what untouchable players do you think they might maybe look at moving, or what prospects do you not want to see the Canucks move? But that's it for this episode of Canucks Digest. If you enjoyed it, make sure to go down and hit the like, subscribe, leave a comment. We'll be here all season long, and with that, take care.